Now we're going to talk about weighted averages. But before we actually get into what a weighted average is, let's just go back and talk about what an average is. Let's say that you have a test average in your math class of a high of a 92% and your low was 70%. So if I wanted to find out what the average of my high and my low is, I would add the high plus the low, and because there's two tests, I would divide by 2, and that would give me 162 divided by 2, or an 81% average between my high score and my low score. Now let's say that you have your test average at the end of this semester or the end of the term is 85, and your quiz average is 60, and your homework average is 90. If you wanted to say, let's say that all of these were all things being equal, then we would have 85 plus 60 plus 90, and because we have 3 scores, we would divide by 3, so we'd say that your average is 235 divided by 3, or 78.3%. And that would be if you would lump all of your test averages together, all your quiz averages together, and your homework average, and then divide by 3 categories. But now here you have this teacher, and this teacher says that tests are more important, and so they have more weight. So they're going to count more heavily either for you or against you. Now here we have a mother. To give you an example, here we have a mother and a father and 3 little kids. And they're trying to decide if they're going to go to the park or if they're going to go visit Aunt Betty. Well, the parents vote to go to Aunt Betty's house. The kids vote to go to the park. So if everybody had the same weight, then it would be 3-2 for the park. Yay! But you know, parents always say, because they pay the bills and it's their house, and when you live in their house, you get the picture. Anyway, they said that their votes count twice. So now instead of 3-2 for the park, we have 4-3 for Aunt Betty's. So forget it, kids, you're not going to the park this time, because Mom and Dad's vote counts for more weight. Now, where do we see this in school? Well, let's talk about a weighted average. If you have, let's say that your tests are going to count for 70% of your total grade, and your quizzes are going to count for 20% of your total grade, and your homework will be 10% of your total grade. So if we find what our average is for our tests, and notice that 70 plus 20 plus 100 has to add up to 100%. That's really key here. So let's say your average for tests was 85, for quizzes was 60, and for homework was 90. Now, they don't count the same weight, so we have to actually apply 70% to the 85 average, and 20% to the 60 average, and 10% to the 90 average. And when we multiply this out and add it together, we get an 80.5 average. All right, let's talk about semester grades. In our school system, we have each semester is made up of a first quarter, a second quarter, and a semester exam. But they don't all count the same. The semester exam doesn't count as much as the first and second quarter. Let's pretend like you got a B for the first quarter, and a D for the second quarter, and an A on the exam. Now, remembering that A counts for 4 points, B counts for 3 points, and so on and so forth, we're going to assign the B a value of 3, that the first quarter counts for 40%, the second quarter counts for 40%, and the semester exam counts for 100%. Notice we have 40, 40, and 20. Okay, so 40 plus 40 plus 20 is 100. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say, well, the B counts for 3, so it'd be 3 times 0.4, converting that to a decimal, plus the D counts for 1 times 0.4, plus A counts for 4 times 0.2. And when we add these together, we get a 2.4, which would record it as a C for that grade. Let's take a look if we change something around here. Let's say you got a B, a D, and an F. Now how would that turn out? Well, the B is 3, so it'd be 3 times 0.4. The D is 1, so it'd be 1 times 0.4. And the F is 0, so that's 0 times 0.2 gives you a 1.6, which oddly enough would still raise you up to a 2.0, so you'd still have a C. Kind of remember that. All right, what about in college? Let's say you're going to college and you're taking 2 classes. The first class you got a D in, and the second class you got a B in. So all things being equal, that would give you a 1 plus 3 divided by 2, which is a 2.0. But let's say that this, which is a C, and let's say that the D class was a 4-hour class and the B class was a 2-hour class. Now you have different weights because now you have a total of 6 hours. So what would you do? Well, you have 4 and 2. So you're going to have your D counts for 1 and your B counts for 3. So you're going to have 1 times 4 plus 3 times 2 divided by 6 because there's a total of 6 hours, 4 plus 2. So that's going to give you 10 divided by 6, which is a 1.7. Okay, now let's change this. Let's change them around. Let's say the B was a 4-hour and the D was the 2-hour. Now you're going to have 1 times 2 plus 3 times 4 divided by 6, which is 14 divided by 6, which is 2.3. So your GPA would be higher in the second scenario, and notice that that's because the B is a higher grade and it counted for more weight. Hope this has helped you out. See you around. Bye.